Good morning. I'm Sylvia, a member of the Board of Trustees, Tahoma UU congregation. As we begin our gathering, I respectfully acknowledge that I speak to you today from occupied Puyallup ancestral land. I pay respect to elders past and present and extend that respect to their descendants and all Indigenous people. We welcome all who are joining us with the longing for community, the hope for peace, and who are seeking justice. We are a diverse congregation which encourages each one who comes through our doors to find their own truth and belief. We invite all to join us in search for meaning and community, guided by reason, respect for others, and by love. The wonderful thing about this virtual platform is that we have an opportunity to welcome guests outside of our traditional geographic area. In past Sundays, we have had visitors across this country, even across the ocean to England. So a special welcome to all of our friends and our new and our returning friends from near and far. I invite you to follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Links to the video version of this service will be posted there this week, as well as on our website. You can find all of our program announcements this week and our e-news and listed on our church calendar. And here are some of the highlights for the week. Following worship service this morning, Nancy Slocum will hold Kids Chapel at 11:30 a.m. Reverend Linda returns tomorrow from her 1-month sabbatical and will be back in our pulpit via Zoom next Sunday, February 7th, and will host tea time on Tuesday morning, February 2nd at 10 a.m. Looking ahead, we will have a congregational meeting on Sunday, February 21st, to consider the safe parking program. And prior to that congregational meeting, the ad hoc committee on building and ground security will host a discussion about safe parking on Sunday, February 7th at 12 noon. More information on this program is available in the e-news and is blogged and in blog posts on our website. Today, we're delighted to welcome Matt Aspen to our pulpit via Zoom. Many of our congregation will remember that Matt did his ministerial internship with us 3 years ago, and we're glad he's here to help share his message, Space to Dream. Links to all of our programs can be found in the weekly e-news or via the events on our church calendar. Thank you for your ongoing financial support to our congregation that makes all of this possible. These programs, our staff who create and facilitate the programs, and the connection that we make through our congregation. Now let us prepare to gather in worship.
Our opening words this morning are Let Go by my friend, the Reverend Lois Finlear. Let go of all that binds you, of all that burdens you, of what you carry, of all that shames you, of fear, of trespasses and transgressions, of woundedness. Let go of guilt, let go of anger, let go of small-mindedness and pettiness, of ways of being that no longer work for you, compulsions that consume your living. Let go of what you cannot change. Let go of regret, of that which haunts you. Let go of pain. Let go of the ways you miss the mark. Let go. Let us worship together and let go.
Good morning. Please join me as Nancy lights the chalice with the chalice reading in the chat. We light this chalice in deep respect for the mystery and the holiness of life. In honor and gratitude for those who have gone before, with love and compassion for those who dwell among us, and with hope and faith for the generations to come. Please light your candle or chalice in your home.
Good morning. I'm Nancy Slocum. I am the Director of Religious Exploration for Children and Youth here at Tahoma Unitarian Universalist Congregation. Welcome, everyone, this morning. An announcement that I'd like to make, we are having the Committee for Religious Exploration for Children and Youth. We are meeting tomorrow evening, Monday, at 7 p.m. via Zoom, and it is open to anyone who has an interest in supporting the programming for kids here at Tahoma UUC. I've put my email in the chat if you want to get a link to the RE committee meeting. So this is the end of our Time for All Ages. We end with our words that we typically used to sing children out of the sanctuary, which are, we hold you in our love as you go, as you go. May your hearts be at peace as you go. To nurture the spark of your precious life, we hold you in our love as you go. Thank you all. Thanks for being here. I love you all, and I can't wait to see you all again. Take good care.
Now is the time that we remember that the Tahoma Unitarian Universalist congregation to be here when you come back together needs your generosity. We need to help support those who are supporting us. You can go to tahomauu.com and click on donate, or text your donation to the number on the screen. Join me in the dedication of the offering. We dedicate ourselves and our offerings to the work of this congregation, weaving a tapestry of love we call community, both within and beyond these walls. With that, I am going to do our reading this morning. It's entitled Vahatha, and it's by Aurora Levins Morales. It's her version of the daily Jewish prayer. Say these words when you lie down and when you rise up, when you go out and when you return, in times of mourning and in times of joy. Inscribe them on your doorposts, embroider them on your garments, tattoo them on your shoulders, teach them to your children, your neighbors, your enemies, recite them in your sleep. Where here in the cruel shadow of empire, another world is possible. Thus spoke the prophet Roque Dalton. Altogether they have more deaths than we, but altogether we have more life than they. There is more bloody death in their hands than we could ever wield unless we lay down our souls to become them. And then we will lose everything. So instead, imagine winning. This is your sacred task. This is your power. Imagine every detail of winning. The exact smell of the summer streets in which no one has been shot. The muscles you have never unclenched from worry, gone soft as newborn skin. The sparkling taste of food when we know that no one on earth is hungry and that beggars are fed, that the old man under the bridge and the woman wrapping herself in thin sheets in the back seat of a car, and the children who suck on stones nest under a flock of roofs that keep multiplying their shelter. Lean with all your being towards that day when the poor of the world shake down a rain of good fortune out of the heavy clouds and justice rolls down like water. Defend the world in which we win as if it were your child, as if your child. Defend it as if it were your lover. It is your lover. When you inhale and when you exhale, breathe the possibility of another world into the 37.2 trillion cells of your body until it shines with hope. Then imagine more. Imagine rape is unimaginable. Imagine war is scarcely credible rumor. That the crimes of our age, the grotesque inhumanities of greed, the sheer and astounding shamelessness of it, the vast fortunes made by stealing lives, the horrible normalcy of it, came to have, is unimaginable to our heirs, the generations of the free. Don't waver. Don't let despair sink its sharp teeth into the throat with which you sing. Escalate your dreams, make them burn so fiercely that you can follow them down any dark alleyway of history and not lose your way. Make them burn clear as a starry drinking gourd over the grim fog of exhaustion, and keep walking. Hold hands, share water, keep imagining so that we and the children of our children's children may live.
Thank you, Patty. Good morning, everyone. I've been asked to speak to you this morning about imagination. I think I know many of you, but just in case, as a reminder, I served this community as an intern a few years ago while I was in seminary. It's good to be back with you today. You're never far from my thoughts. As I come back to one of the gardens that helped to nurture the seeds of a dream that I had long ago, I thought it might be interesting to consider some of the lessons that you taught me along the way that have expanded my imagination and led me to the space that I am here today. I mean, this background here, I came this close. I almost got called to be the minister in this congregation. Can you imagine getting to preach in a place like this? My goodness gracious. Anyway, that's a story for another time. Maybe we'll catch up in coffee hour. As the profound mystic and Southern oracle, Dolly Parton, has said, the seeds you help plant in your community can grow across the world. Remembering how to ignite our imaginations is still vital work today, no matter how semi-relieved the events of the past few weeks may have us feeling. Because as we have learned so painfully over the past 4 years, Dr. King's dream still has a long way to go towards becoming a reality. As I began to collect my thoughts around what I might share with you today regarding imagination, the path kept leading me back to things I found within the UU communities like this one that I had become a part of. My hope has always been to expand your imagination beyond a consideration of what is potentially probable, to expand it to what is ultimately possible. I mean something that seems almost beyond comprehension, like having Georgia vote in not one, but 2 Democratic senators. Oh, wait, that actually happened. I still believe the Unitarian Universalist faith is practiced in little communities like this all over the country and really around the world, be one of the important sources of new imaginings that leads humanity in a better direction. Towards imagining new ways to heal the ills which have continued to plague humankind for as long as folks have been trying to figure out how to be kind for their fellow humans. The biggest lesson this community helped me to learn is that I don't think the solutions we need will come from any single one of our brilliant minds. I think the only way we will find the solution that contains enough perspectives is to get to a point where all of our minds and hearts are engaged and aligned in imagining together. Primary thing I've come to believe that imagination needs, and this is my focus of my message for you today, is safety. Now, to be clear, it's not that imagination needs safety. A prisoner in solitary confinement can have a vivid imagination. The requirement of safety comes at the point where the visions of imagining what is possible for humanity to reach our highest collective potential meets the actual need to actually manifest that vision in the real world, with everybody included. This is the source of humans' evolutionary advantage, the ability to imagine an as yet unrealized future, to be able to convert that vision into a tangible physical reality, which, depending on the soil in which the seeds of that vision germinate, can actually be kind of a scary proposition, as we have all seen recently in the news. There is a very fertile ground being cultivated these days where folks that feel like they should have more power than they do are being encouraged by wild conspiracy theories to revolt against the system, oftentimes using violence as the means to their end. That old line from Janis Joplin says, "Freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose." It's applicable here. When folks honestly believe that they have nothing left to lose, their imaginations can be put to work towards actions they believe will improve their well-being. And there are a lot of communities around this country that have emerged for this very purpose. Give folks that are feeling frustrated a space that feels safe to express their frustrations and allow them to grow. As you continue to use your imaginations to envision a better future promise for our world, remember that anyone that is left behind by your vision will likely resist it. If you're getting resistance to your vision for a peaceful world, that means that there is still work to be done. One of the strongest principles of our faith is a covenant to a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. This space that we create together in this community is supposed to be a sacred space, a space that is designed to encourage us to come together to find our own truth. As I've spent time over the past years thinking about this principle, I've begun to think that it might be time for a little shift. I think maybe what we need next is a shift from an individual search for truth and meaning to the collective search for truth and meaning. See, I'm beginning to think that maybe that individual search for truth and meaning, maybe that was Truth and Meaning 101. Maybe it was never meant to be an ending place. Maybe it was just meant to be a starting place. And here's the beauty of our religion. You have made the choice to search for what is true. In fact, you profess to believe that it is your responsibility to constantly seek new truth. This means that our faith expects us to modify our opinions if new evidence appears which contradicts our original assumptions. So we are practicing our faith when we admit that we might have been wrong about something. Now, about that individual search for truth and meaning. A growing number of folks, young people especially, are expressing a sense that it is a simple truth that maybe we humans have become a little too self-centered, and that what we need to do collectively is to get our stuff together, or we're just going to mindless ourselves off a cliff. And the only proven way that humans have found to solve their problems peacefully is to discuss them. You just got to get folks actually speaking to one another. Now, in practice, people usually stop talking to each other when they think the person they're mad at did something wrong, or if they're fearful of them. The echo chambers of our social media are getting better at separating us into groups of us versus them. So there it is, right there. I think this is the key. There is no us, there is no them. There is ultimately only we. But our disagreements are being used to create the illusion that we are different. Folks that you don't like Folks who don't like you, these are the folks that have to figure stuff out. This is the work of covenant-based UU congregations has been designed to do. This is our call. This moment in history needs what we are designed to do. We profess to be a faith with responsibility to seek truth and meaning. This then is our work. It is work that I've seen you continue to work towards. To reimagine our communities back into the town centers where big ideas are debated safely. But this time, with all voices being represented around the table. Which means we need to be incredibly sensitive to the needs of our fellow human travelers. Because no one who does not feel safe is ever going to feel safe coming to a place that professes to know the right way to save the world, can't even figure out how to share power with within its own community safely. Now, if you disagree completely with everything I just said, I invite you to find a channel that feels safe for you to reach out to me. And I hope you'll share your thoughts. Yeah, we can teach each other some things. And in that way, perhaps, together, we can find a way to save this precious experiment called humanity. Now, here's where I'm going to challenge many of you. I know that I am safe to come here and share my ideas. This system was designed by folks just like me. The question you have to ask yourselves is, who wouldn't feel safe expressing their ideas here? And what steps can I take to correct that? Whose imagination gets held up here? Is it the weakest or is it the strongest? If it's not the weakest, especially the historically marginalized, then how can we collectively profess to know the way forward to a more just society if it's only the strongest voices that continue to shape our collective imaginations? If you are used to trying to get your ideas held up by using power over or intimidation, or it's my way or the highway, I invite you to try to imagine a better way. Whose voices get held up here? Is it the conservatives? How can we profess to know that the right way forward if it's only the voices of the dreamers that are held up here? How do we make space for the voices that remind us of an important component in the creation of safety is a reliance on tradition? I was asked to come here today to talk about imagination. Our world is in need of more complete dreams today, perhaps now more than ever. I only get to visit with you every once in a while, so all I can ever really hope to do is plant a seed or two that the folks of this community can ruminate on for a bit. So if I was to bottom line my message to you today, it would be a reminder that it is communities like this one that have been designed to be the incubators for the ideas humanity needs to survive. And to do that work, our communities need to be continually focused on the creation of safe spaces where all voices can be added to the conversation, imagining a better tomorrow. For our imaginations to do their best work, the number one priority is safety. As Brene Brown has noted, no vulnerability, no creativity. If you're not willing to build a vulnerable culture, you can't create. To that end, I'm inviting us all to imagine where this community's blind spots might still be, and to be vulnerable enough to admit them, and to actively work to lift up any voices that might have perspectives that this community can't currently see, because those perspectives don't feel safe here for whatever reason. We have to all be vulnerable enough to admit that no matter how smart we might think we are, we don't individually have all the answers. Life has become too complex. We can't possibly. As you continue forward on your journeys, and as you continue to make decisions within this community, I would challenge you to consider just 3 questions before you consider moving forward with any action. These are the things I've been thinking might help us find our way as we continue forth into this more and more interconnected and increasingly confusing world. First, does this action I am considering support me? This one's kind of easy. This is how we're all wired. The important thing here is making sure you understand all of your motivations for the choices you make, especially the hidden ones. Second, does the action we're considering support our community? This is the next level. If you're considering an action and it is good for you and it's good for your community, that's a good indication that you might be headed in the right direction. But there's a third and final consideration. And this is where I believe the true work of our times really needs to happen. Within the action I am considering, is there any potential to cause harm to anyone else? This, I believe, is where we need to focus the power of our imaginations. We need to expand our imaginations beyond our own myopic perspectives and be willing to open ourselves to include the imaginations of other justice seekers around us. And I like to imagine that this community is designed to deliver exactly that, which is what is needed in this moment in history. As a pledging member of our faith, you've made a promise to affirm and promote by your life and example a series of principles, one of which implores free and responsible search for truth and meaning. I ask you, what on earth could be more important in this country and at this time in history than a responsible search for what is actually true and meaningful? Can you imagine what it'll take to root out the evil that has infected a large swath of this country? If the solution to that problem seems too big to imagine in this moment, just remember this. Georgia went blue. Thank you, Stacey Abrams, for imagining that possibility. And I know at least a few folks here wrote some postcards to Georgia voters that was part of the effort to help to imagine that possibility into existence. That's the kind of thing that makes all the difference. Imagine that. Keep imagining what's next, and never stop expanding the perspectives that get included in your dreams. Is it good for me? Is it good for my community? And is there anyone that might be harmed by this? If you think that might happen, seek out a more complete answer. This community and others like it around the country are attempting to do the exact work that is needed in the world today. Not easy work, work that's never done, but it is the work we must all continue to do if we are to have any hope for a brighter tomorrow. I leave you with the words of imagination more powerful than I could ever hope to muster. The new dawn blooms as we free it, for there is always light, if only we are brave enough to see it, if only we are brave enough to be it. Thank you for reminding us to keep imagining, Amanda Gorman. And thank you, TUUC, for continuing your work to cultivate a garden where more imaginations can bloom in ever-increasing safety to spread the light of hope into a sometimes dark world. Blessed be, and may we all help to make it so. Let us now take a pause in these next few moments to consider the opening words we heard in the opening song, both of which remind us to make space for imagination to emerge. For our story for all ages, which reminded us that gratitude for what we have is necessary for imagining a brighter tomorrow. For the words I shared in the sermon, which hopefully reminded us to make space for all imaginers. Let us now create some space for the seeds of best intentions to be watered by the holy water of our combined imaginations. Our closing reading today is entitled Blessing in the Chaos by Jan Richardson. To all that is chaotic in you, let there come silence. Let there be a calming of the clamoring, a stilling of the voices that have laid their claim on you, that have made their home in you, that go with you even to the holy places, but will not let you rest, will not let you hear your life with wholeness, feel the grace that fashioned you. Let what distracts you cease. Let what divides you cease. Let there come an end to what diminishes and demeans, and let depart all that keeps you in its cage. Let there be an opening into the quiet that lies beneath the chaos, where you find the peace you did not think possible, and see what shimmers within the storm.
Please join me with the words printed in the chat as Nancy extinguishes our chalice for this week. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Zeriel will sing our closing blessing song.
From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and by this we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and by this we live.